listen to your gut, and if it doesn't feel right, don't do it.
That's a good
Don't
lesson
put yourself in a compromising
all of
position.
life.
Yes. All right. So are you taking on new partnerships? Or are you taking on new restaurants?
Obviously, this year is closed out. Pretty much there's no time. But definitely looking for new partnerships and collabs for 2025. People to bring on the podcast, places to go. Everything is open for the new year. I'm really just kind of open to anything, really.
Welcome to Stop Whining About Real Estate. Join us as we chat, sip, banter, and wine with the best in the biz. Grab a glass of your favorite vino, sit back, relax, and let's wine together. Welcome to Stop Whining About Real Estate. I am your host, Sarah Birnbaum. Along with me is my co-host, Emmanuel St. Germain, and our fabulous guest, Shaina Wizov. Welcome, and so happy to have you.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Absolutely. I forgot this in the intro. She's got a podcast, Take a Bite Out of Boca. Also,
Take a Bite Out of South Florida.
Take a Bite Out of South Florida, and then Take a Bite Out of Boca is the Instagram.
Yes, Instagram and blog.
And we love that because I have been stalking you for the last couple days, and you have, I always say, like, I'm kind of bored because I feel like I live here and I eat here all the time and I don't know where to go when people are like, where do you want to go eat? And I was looking at your...
Do you hear these rich people problems over here?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I'm bored. There's like, I've gone to
honestly,
every...
I feel the same sometimes.
Hold on, wait. So I entertain a lot for a living.
Yeah.
So I was looking at it and I was like, oh my God, I didn't even think about that. Wow. And you make everything look really fun, really delicious, really exciting.
Thank you.
And now I have a whole list that I'm generating.
Oh, good. Yeah. You have to tell me
so it's working.
Where you're going and like what posts have you like, what's on your list? Like what have you seen?
The Ma's place in Fort Lauderdale, MAAS.
Oh, yes. Oh, my God. If there's one place you go to, like, immediately, you need to go there.
Okay. What is it? Talk to me.
Mas, MAASS. It is in the Four Seasons on Fort Lauderdale Beach. And this restaurant...
Is this on the second or third floor?
No, it's on the first. You can see the beach. They have the coolest bar, too. Like, I really want to go back and just sit there for happy hour, and you're, like, overlooking the beach.
Four Seasons a little sketchy, though, don't you think?
Yeah, just a tiny bit. It's not fancy or like.
Make sure you come strapped and ready to go.
This place impressed me more than any place I've been recently. We walked in and I had a specially curated menu for me that said "Take a bite out of Mas," and then they had. So I have quite a few dietary restrictions. So they had gone through the entire menu and put together a menu for me. Everything on this menu is like Shaina friendly, which is the phrase I've dubbed like a thing that people actually use now. And it was super impressive. The food was fantastic. Like there's a big open kitchen. You can actually sit up there and they have a chef's table menu as well.
Love that.
Highly recommend it.
Is it prefix? Like, is it one of those?
No, it's not a prefix.
Okay, so I thought it was like a kind of like when you go to I can't think of the name right now, but where everything's
like a tasting menu?
Yeah.
So if you sit at the chef's table, it's a tasting menu, but if you just sit regular reservations, there's so many. It's really, really, really good.
Now, in part of what you do, are you considered a food, like the rating reviewer or critic?
So,
yeah, thank you.
No, every time anyone uses the word like critic or review, obviously, yes, I am reviewing in a way, but I would never, I wouldn't, exactly. Like I have an actual blog, like my website, I've had my website since 2011 is when I started Take a Bite Out of Boca. And my website is, I'm a writer by trade. I went to school for journalism. So I write, I don't just copy and paste press releases like a lot of people do. I write about my experiences. But I have always been I like to say I'm a marketer. It's all about promotion. I'm not negative. I don't go out there and bash these places. I'm not there as a secret. They're inviting me in to help promote something, whether it's a new menu, a new chef, an overall general feel, an opening, whatever it is. I'm there to help, not discourage. I mean, I'm never going to openly post something negative. Like I'll talk to you. If I had a negative experience, I will go and talk to the restaurant on, private. Behind the scenes. So yeah, I don't like the word critic.
I just meant more from the concept of, we know Shaina's coming in, like everybody top notch, like make sure that everything is done a little bit differently.
They will, because they want the publicity to look.
So I understand that, but also as an owner and somebody who employs people, like it's not just about, this loan is a VIP loan, we got to do a great job. I want to make sure that people are picking up the stuff off the ground every single time.
Yeah.
Like we're doing a good job always. You're not going to be perfect, but I don't want you to go like. It's hard to explain.
No, I get it. I know exactly what you're saying.
He doesn't want your experience to be the like rolled out red carpet
and
VIP, and then somebody walks in and they're like, "Ugh, you're here."
Or someone else goes and doesn't have the same 5-star service. Like if someone else, yes, they're gonna do things. Like I'm sure not everybody who makes a reservation at Moss is getting a specially curated menu. Correct. That's not happening. But
I'm going to be
a
a little
nice
disappointed if I don't have that.
It's a nice touch. But they do say, actually, they're like, if you have dietary restrictions, tell them ahead of time. And who knows, maybe they do that, do something similar for people. I'm not sure. But yeah, I mean, a lot of places, they will go above and beyond, sometimes a little too much. I've definitely been to places where like the servers are overly attentive and it's to the point where I'm just like, you don't need to fill my water 50 times. Like you don't have to come and check on me every 2 seconds. Like we're good.
Yeah.
And I get it. They're like, sometimes it's like, especially if it's an inexperienced server, they're worried.
Oh, yeah.
They want to make sure things are okay. But for the most part, I want to experience the restaurant the same way that anyone is going to so that I can speak to people when they are like, well, what was the service like? I want to be able to tell them what they can expect, not what I'm going to expect when I come in and someone's like,
she's here.
Giving, sometimes these places will like go all out with like wine pairings and all this stuff. And it's like the average human isn't doing this every time they're coming in.
What kind of skill set do you think? Because I don't think I'm a very good critic. I'm sure people would say I'm really, really easygoing. So like...
Are you being, I can't tell if you're being sarcastic or not.
No, I'm a very good critic. I can pick anything apart.
He is the toughest.
Okay.
Well, I will say this. You are...
I'm fair.
No, you're not fair. Well, you have a very high standard for yourself, and you hold everybody to the same standard that you hold yourself, and you hold yourself to a standard that most people don't even dream about. With that being said, I've eaten out in places with you, and you are very fair and kind when it comes to restaurants and service and hospitality and stuff. Like, you're not one to be, lose your mind and send stuff back and, be rude. Like, that is not your...
We do have somebody in our office.
We do.
Who sends a lot of stuff back.
And doesn't like much.
I'm not gonna name names, but he has the biggest beard in the office, too. And he's not gonna listen to this anyway.
No, he won't. But yeah, you're a tough critic in everything else in life.
Yeah, well, I mean... I don't know. What was the question?
All right, so let's talk about
skill set.
Well, no, I was making a joke just to kind of have fun, poke fun of myself, and Sarah. But so when you go review and stuff like that, and you go user, so I want to talk about from so obviously what you do is cool, but I want to talk about the business aspect because what I'm going to basically segue is I want to help and educate, whether it's a loan officer or somebody who's in real estate, how what you're doing for a restaurant and how that impacts their business really is no different than I, as a loan officer, if I had a website, if I was marketing myself, or if a real estate agent was doing the exact same thing. So the concept is that we now have an individual who is trying a service, and now you're trying to, let's talk about all the different ways that we are going to promote that food with what you're talking about. So that you're blogging, right? You're writing reviews. What else are you doing that's promoting the business? And then how's the business, what are they doing with it? Because now they're going to Instagram, or is that your Instagram? Who tags who? Walk us down the process a little bit. So
a restaurant invites me in for dinner, whatever it is. Or I have let's talk about a restaurant inviting me in for dinner is one thing that's, it's a comped dinner. I'll post some stuff, but let's talk more about like the actual partnerships where there's monetary compensation.
Ooh, okay,
so
cool.
Partnership with a restaurant, or it doesn't even necessarily, I work with a lot of businesses, not all restaurants. I work with a lot of like wellness companies. I've done stuff with like fashion. I mean, a lot of different things. I work with a lot of local companies, national companies as well. But let's say it's a paid partnership with a restaurant. We come up with a set deliverables, a set amount of like marketing deliverables that I'm going to do for them, whether it's a blog post, a reel, a set of stories. I'm going to come in and shoot content. Maybe there's X amount of photos or videos that I'm going to give to them that they can use for their own marketing tools. the reel will always add the restaurant or chef, whoever it is, as a collaborator so that it also appears on their own page.
Okay, so real quick, because you
Sorry, I'm talking fast.
No. It's awesome stuff. I want to dig into that. So, all right. So, one, I love the word deliverable. Totally stealing it. Number two, because that's not in my repertoire at the moment.
I feel like I use that word a million times a day.
He's now going to use that word
all the time.
You're going to hear it a lot.
17 times every day for the next 2 weeks.
I have another new one called proof of concept.
Oh, that's interesting.
That's a good one.
Who taught you that one?
I love that one.
Wait, who taught you that one?
It's not you, so I don't know why you're trying to take credit.
Well, because Jared and I have this back and forth of a whole dictionary that we're trying to teach you.
No, please. Okay, so back to what we were talking about. So on the deliverables, now you got me all thrown off, Sarah.
Sorry.
So we've got the deliverables, and as we're going into that, because I like that everything is so defined like that. So keep going. Sorry, I'll think of my thoughts.
I'm just trying to think of okay. So sometimes if there's a specific thing, so during September in Delray Beach, it's restaurant month. Mm-hmm. I partnered with a restaurant in Delray to promote their restaurant month menu. I also partnered with the downtown, the DDA, to promote restaurant month as a whole. So we had, actually Bounce was included in one of the reels that I did to promote during restaurant month. So what we came up with was concepts for these reels. We had two different reels. It was one, I was going to go to a restaurant that was doing one of the prefix menus for restaurant month, and I was going to showcase that restaurant month menu. It's a 3-course meal, my experience there. And then the other concept was we were going to do a happy hour concept. So I picked 3 restaurants that were on the restaurant month list that were really promoting and trying to push their happy hours during the month of September. So I picked those 3. I went to all 3. I got drinks and food and just kind of showcased. I was there at Bounce. I was actually there with friends, so I got some really good content because it was really busy that day too. I think it was a big basketball game, so the place was packed.
Cool. So you're doing creative content.
Yes.
Are you also doing filming and you're doing editing all yourself?
All myself.
Okay.
And I film on my phone. I use an app called CapCut to edit. Mm-hmm. I have the paid version, so there's a lot of little extra features that I can use. And I'm not using anything fancy. I'm not doing anything fancy. I mean, it takes time to edit. And
okay, so how long does it take? I don't have a clue how that stuff works.
It really depends. Restaurant stuff's a little bit easier. It really just depends on what I'm doing. If I'm doing a voiceover, it's going to take a little bit more because then I obviously have to make sure I'm editing to go along with the voiceover. I have to figure out all the timing. If it's just an editing reel with music, it's a little bit easier. It really just depends. But anywhere from, a half hour to an hour to editing the reel and then editing stories and getting stories up and writing the caption, editing photos, all of that. But again, I'm not doing anything fancy. I'm using CapCut for editing, and I use Lightroom on my phone for photo editing and nothing crazy.
Walk me through the creative process. So I like to think of this stuff too. I want to know, are you starting with the end? Do you have do you visualize and say, all right, here's what I want it to look like? Or is it more spontaneous as you film? And is it or do you change what you're doing when you're editing and then you go, ooh, you just film a bunch of stuff and then you put it together? Or is it thought out and then you work backwards?
All of the above.
Okay.
It really just depends where I am and what I'm doing. In some restaurants, it comes very organically. Others, I have an idea what I want before I go in there. Other times, I'm editing and just something cute comes up. I get there's a cute idea that I have in my head, and the clips make sense, so I'm able to make something out of it. A lot of times, I'll take clips and I repurpose them for something else that it's just totally out of a different topic. I went to a restaurant in West Palm, the House on the River, for this really cute brunch that they do with Vouv. And I collabed with a friend of mine on our reel. We did that, and then there was this really great clip of myself in an outfit that I liked. So I used that to push. It was a partnership with the brand of the outfit, and I was able to use that clip. So I repurpose things.
So all these partnerships means you're an influencer.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's influencer marketing. It's influencer marketing.
Nothing. I'm just watching your brain spin, and it's funny.
Yeah. Yes. Content creation.
This is spinning.
Influencer, blogger, writer.
So a friend of mine, Rich, who they've been doing they've been going after the influencer model in terms of driving leads or driving individuals. And that's been a huge part of their marketing and going after different people. And what they realized is like, you know, this one woman, I don't even remember where she is, but they're talking in the loyalty that follows somebody that when they from the influencers, like I don't mean necessarily, you know, I mean like somebody who actually has, in our world, it's obviously financial. So if you trust somebody financially, you know, and you're that trusted individual and they say, you know, go check out this company, they're great for this, or if you need this, go check them out. In the restaurant world, like how do you make your name? You know, in what you've done and how do you...
It takes a long time. Like I said before, I started Take a Bite Out of Boca in just 2011.
Okay.
And I moved here. That's when I moved here to Florida from New Jersey in September 2011. I was starting my blog around then. I started really in more of the like recipe world.
Okay.
Because that's sort of...
Do you like to cook?
Not anymore, no.
Okay.
I have a fiance that does that for me.
I noticed you had a ring. Congratulations,
Thank
by
you.
the way.
I don't cook. I really dislike cooking.
I found someone to do that for me.
He loves it enough that I don't. I mean, like, every once in a while I can throw some veggies in the oven. I'm, like, great at that, but I really am not a fan.
Just a better critic.
When I
As we were talking about earlier, we like to be served.
Yes.
Yeah.
When I started, I was cooking. I wasn't great, but I was, like, cooking and doing a lot of, like, recipe blogging stuff, and that's kind of where I started. And I went to a lot of blogging conferences, like food blogger conferences all over, really. I did Florida. I went to Chicago. Just learning that way, and that's sort of where the blogging world was in 2011, 2012. And then I got really involved locally with events in the area. Boca Bacchanal, it was a junior league event. Flavors of Boca, I think it was called. I could be saying, I don't even know if they do it anymore, but it was a junior league of Boca event. But I got involved a lot with like volunteering, helping out, and basically just being at all of the events and meeting chefs and restaurant owners and going to the restaurants. I loved going and sitting at bars with myself and just like making myself known and out there. So after a while, like people just started to know who I was. I was posting. I don't even think Instagram was like a thing yet, but I was posting on Facebook and I was blogging and like pretending it was important and being like, I wrote about you on my website that 2 people read, but you know.
But then it turned
over time. I mean, now like I monetize through my website, I monetize through Instagram and through like social media partnerships and collaborations. It took 13 years.
Yeah.
Technically, December 6th, like a week ago, was Take a Bite Out of Boca's 13th birthday.
Wow.
Because that was the day I bought my domain name, so it's the birthday.
So, do you still have your first blog? Is it still up there?
It is probably archived. I'm pretty sure I hired a company to redo my website like a year or so ago.
Okay.
And I archived everything that was like before 2016, just because everything was so
does it have
bad.
Pictures?
Oh my God, the photos were so bad.
But you know what you
because it would be so cool to look back at like your writing.
Make a book out of that.
Oh, these photos are. I don't even understand how I thought it was okay to upload these. Like they're grainy, they're dark. I'm like, who? Like I don't understand.
Okay, so perfect.
They're horrible.
So as someone who does like to cook and as someone who does like to post pictures of their food, give me tips, give me advice. What am I doing wrong?
Natural light.
Natural light, okay, so...
Always.
Well, what do you mean by natural light? Like, I don't cook in the sunlight.
If you can have... that's true. That's why when you are cooking at night and taking photos, it's usually horrible. But if you...
See? It wasn't...
Well, you have your lights on in the kitchen.
If you can...
That's not natural light. That's light.
If I'm going... Like, I love lunch when I'm going to a restaurant and want to get content and want good content. I love lunch or an early dinner or something where I can use the natural light instead of my ring light or my selfie light thing or just light from the restaurant. It just looks so much better.
Light.
Natural light is always better.
Talk to me about angles.
Some people,
I see some people go like over top. Some people go like
do you have the headpiece that you wear your phone on the headpiece and it watches everything so you have your hands free?
What? Me?
That I don't.
No,
but
I
that
haven't
sounds
done
really
anything
fun.
while I'm cooking. I just take a few
Well,
pictures.
that's part of what
after.
you should do.
You
I
should
think
have
you should
something
do
that-
video
yeah,
of the
video while you're
action of you
cooking.
doing it. For Christmas, I'm going to buy you. It's a headpiece that you wear, and you put your phone on it.
That's
Why don't
really
we just
cool,
have somebody
actually.
videotape me? Why do I have to
Who's
do
going
this?
to videotape you?
I'm sure we can find someone.
Okay.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. I lost my train of thought. Angles. I don't know. Wherever there's no shadows.
Shadows.
A lot of times, if you go right overhead, depending where the light's coming from, there's gonna be a shadow, which I hate. And good. I don't know.
Are there filters for people who don't like filters?
Probably. I am not a photographer.
I hate filters. It's
I'm
a
like
joke.
not. I really
I'd rather
don't.
picture
yeah,
not be
like
good.
my photos are very much like I don't know. I don't know anything special about photography.
Okay. So
Yeah.
but what's the greatest strength? Writing? You love writing,
Yeah.
you said?
I went to school for journalism and TV production.
Okay.
So really, so my
Yes, Emmanuel.
Why do you hate a podcast so much?
That wasn't in my degree. They didn't even have podcasts.
Yeah, that wasn't
back
a
in
thing
That's true.
2004.
TV was black and white when you were in school.
there was no podcasts. So like I know I can edit. Like I'm good at editing. I used to edit a ton on like Final Cut Pro back in the day, but now I just use we have easy stuff. But I'm good at the writing. I'm good at I have a good eye for editing things together.
Well, you're super creative too.
Yeah,
And I think probably like I'm just listening to you and like your process. And I think, and I could be totally wrong, but the more you do this and the more you see the restaurant and the more you see how things turn out on video, you have ideas of how, like, you might have started off doing an entrance to every restaurant that you did, and maybe one doesn't require an entrance all the time. And like the food videos could be different each time, or somebody bringing the food out, or whatever you're doing to put them together. You probably, as you've done it, you're like, this video sounded cool in my head, but then I saw it and it wasn't.
Yeah.
And so then you kind of videotape knowing how you're going to edit it because you know what it's like to edit it, and you've done it so many times that you're like, this is going to be really cool. I can piece this, I can take this apart. I can use it in different places. And that just comes with time, practice, experience.
And I also am just a lot better at being kind of on the fly than I am with planning ahead. And that's kind of how I actually work my podcast too. I don't really like plan out what I'm going to say to people. I'm better at like just going with it. Yeah. And like making it. And that's kind of how I go with my concepts too, with when I'm shooting. Like, yes, maybe I have like a little bit of an idea, but for the most part, it's kind of how I feel at the moment, and sort of just.
What about the music? So, like, I love music. So I find like even a half-ass video with great music, like, can make me watch longer than I would have. So how do you? But
there's
my
always
problem is like I never. Like, I'll watch your video and I'm like, ooh, that's a good song, but it's not like I write it down. So, like, I'll forget by the time it's, I know.
Save it.
You can save.
You got to have your Instagram music bank.
You can save right on Instagram.
Whoever's filming is going to have to write down. That's good. But
you need a whole person for this cooking exposition that you're going to do, because
music is important.
I did think of doing a cooking and mortgage show, but because I think so many people want to hear about mortgages.
Wow.
I don't.
It's a joke.
Nope.
Trust me, I get it.
I still don't think I entirely understand what a mortgage is, so we're gonna.
It's a really boring conversation.
I'm sure.
Let's stick to travel. All right, so let's talk about how often do you travel?
Oh, I travel a lot.
Okay, because you have to. I would think the more creative, like you have to see and experience and touch and
things outside of this area.
Especially with food, it's so fun. We travel a lot. We're actually leaving for Mexico in a couple weeks.
Okay. Well, I was just in New Mexico yesterday.
Oh.
And
I don't think it's the same, but
it's very close. They call it Nuevo Mexico when you're there.
Well, I'm going to be in Mexico City and San Miguel de Allende.
He's funny today.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It'll be fun.
That's a pretty small city, if I'm right?
Mexico City? Absolutely not.
No, I know. It's gigantic.
And tons of good restaurants.
I hear. My mom actually went there.
Oh, my God. It is like a mecca for food and cocktail bars.
Yep.
Like, we have great reservations set up and, like, a whole list of these cool cocktail bars. Like, all the world's best 50. Roger does a little bit. I can say where's the bathroom
Just
and,
be
like,
a little
give me
safe.
wine.
It's still Mexico, so just be a little safe.
I'm like,
Watch
we
yourselves.
don't drink the water, right? Is that still?
Ooh, yeah, that's
is
an
that
easy
still
one.
a thing?
It is very much a thing.
Yeah, so we'll be carrying around lots of.
I don't get how that works. They're just bodies, just like they got their bodies just get used to it.
Yeah.
You poop yourself enough that you finally just,
That's
okay, I'm over it now.
a fun thing to have to worry about on vacation. So
yes. Let's say, like, any kind of partnerships aside, and I don't know if you're allowed to do this, but, like, walk me through what you would say would be a perfect, like, eating, drinking, leisurely day in the area. Like, some of your favorite spots.
You're asking her to circumvent her partners.
I'm not going, and I not necessarily would these be partners, but just like my favorite places in the area.
Yeah.
Is that what you're asking? Like
if you have people coming into town and they're like, we want to go to a really fun brunch.
Okay.
Where are some of the places that you would mention?
Oh, man. So I live in downtown Delray. I know take a bite out of Boca. When I first moved here, I lived in Boca. I feel like I always have to explain this. I've been coming.
They're one almost.
Delray's way better than Boca.
I agree. I feel like I have to explain it though because people are like, kids. It's what your thing says Boca, blah blah blah. But when I moved here, I lived in Boca. I have been coming to Boca since I was literally like a week old.
You had grandparents that lived here.
Yes. My mom's side of the family all lives in Boca. We've been coming here forever. I moved here. I lived with my grandmother for 10 months in Boca. Then I had various places in Boca. Then I moved to Delray. And I always was not just Boca. I was always covering Miami and Palm Beach and Fort Lauderdale and West Palm and Boynton, whatever. South Florida in general. And I felt like since it mostly was Miami, Palm Beach, but Boca's sort of like the center. So I felt like Take a Bite Out of Boca is great, worked well. And then over time, I redid my logo, and it's Take a Bite Out of Boca and Beyond, which allows me to incorporate outside of Boca, outside of Florida, allowed me to add travel. And then sort of I evolved into like wellness and fashion and all this other thing. So it's kind of like
Beyond.
Just the whole thing.
Let's call it for what it is. Miami restaurant. Miami has, how many Michelin star restaurants? It's like
Miami
10.
is fantastic. But Palm Beach has great restaurants too. And we have great restaurants in Boca and Delray. But since I live downtown in Delray, I
walk everywhere and
live, work. Like I walk everywhere in Delray. I go, and you're downtown too.
My golf cart everywhere.
Right.
Yeah.
I guess that I always see you on your golf cart, but I like haven't been face to face with you for years.
Hot little blonde/redhead.
You should get more
on
steps
4
in.
paws. Talk about my dog.
Yes. I know. I always see you and your dog on your golf cart.
It's forever date.
But like some of my, I guess I love. What do I live for brunch? I like brulee for brunch.
Really?
I like brulee for everything.
I do too, but I've gone on a lot of first dates there.
Oh.
Okay, so that's not the question. It's where do you like
to
matter.
Eat? I love the food there. I love, oh my God, I'm like blanking now. Well, this isn't brunch, but I'm obsessed with Amar. If I'm bringing people to Amar, now that they're in the new space, like I love it even more, but I will bring someone to Amar. I also really like to bring people from out of town to Deck 84. Just the atmosphere is so
cool,
nice.
especially on a Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't agree with your choices.
Well, I was asking her, not you.
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
The questions were towards...
I figured I like brulee's fantastic. You know what my favorite dish at brulee is? It's that broccoli thing.
Oh, the broccoli with the hummus.
Can I tell you, I've tried to make this at home.
You can't.
Failed miserably.
You can't. They do something to the broccoli.
They flash fry it.
It's so good.
Flash fry it.
It's very good. The kale salad is my favorite.
They do something to the broccoli. They do something back there.
I used to love Deck. So when you moved here, Deck was amazing. We would have great people all the time. Now it's gotten a little older.
I haven't
That's the
been
only
in
reason why I said it.
older. I think
I haven't.
Yeah, that's true. I still like it. I still like the atmosphere.
It's cool. It's on the water. The boats pass by.
Yeah.
It's got live music.
Do you like Drift? I think Drift is pretty cool.
Yes, I think Drift is good. I think that's a great spot to go for drinks up on the new rooftop at Elevate.
You like Rose's Daughter?
I like Rose's Daughter. Rose's Daughter is my favorite gluten-free pizza. I'm gluten-free. Mm-hmm. The pizza is fantastic. I love the Grove, obviously.
Love the Grove. They've got good drinks too. Another place you take a lot of dates.
No.
I figured that was what was coming out of your mouth.
Jeez, come on now. No, but I will say I'm not a fan of the bartenders.
Oh.
Because?
The attitude.
You got to know them.
Really? Well, that's great for somebody who knows them. But if I was the owner of that place, I'd have a few things to say.
Maybe you should be nicer.
You just admitted earlier that how nice I am when I am nice. I'm nice and I tip very well.
I can see what you're saying, though. I mean,
they're just like...
I can see. But there's no doubt there that the food and drinks are next level.
And I love it when the weather's cool enough where that they open the garage door.
And you can sit outside.
The ambiance is really cool.
Yeah.
When you go, so I want to go back to travel though.
Okay.
Because you're about to travel, and as cool as Delray is, when you go, so what do you do? All right, so you go to Mexico City. Let's say you were picking any other city. It doesn't matter. Like, what do you do in terms of research for restaurants? Are there certain websites that you're going to? Like your local blogger for here.
Yeah.
What do you do?
I have gone to other. I tend to ask. I know a lot of bloggers from all over, and I tend to ask around, like, have you traveled here? Like a lot. Like I look for other travel bloggers. Actually, I was in Portugal over in September.
Okay.
It's on my list.
And there was a specific travel blogger that I saw was there. So I reached out to them, or I looked at their page and I was looking at places they went. And then I reached out to another one that I saw was in Lisbon, and she sent me a bunch of different recommendations. I'll research. I'll ask people who have also been. I have a lot of good friends who also travel really frequently. And then I do rely on TripAdvisor. I love reading reviews on TripAdvisor. And I like one of the things I really like to do on TripAdvisor is once I find the restaurants, however I find them, I go into the reviews and I put gluten-free in the search bar to see if there's any reviews about whether it's gluten-free, like how friendly they are towards gluten. Yeah. I have found that Europe is way better about gluten-free options than the U.S.
Really?
Yeah.
That surprises me a little bit.
Amazing. Even in Scotland.
That surprises me. Even in
Why?
like France?
Because France was great with gluten-free. They were not great with dairy-free. They couldn't comprehend when I said I couldn't have butter. They're like, it's just a little bit. They didn't understand that. It was and for me, it's not like I'm going to die type of, it's not an allergy. It's
a preference.
Yes. And it's a skin, a stomach, whatever. So I just kind of grinned and bared it.
Okay.
Grun and I don't know how to, the past
Grinned,
tenses.
grinned
And bared it. And like in France, I was just like, okay, yeah, like there's a little bit of butter.
Just a little bit of butter.
It's fine. There's
I have a little bit of a
for
stomach
that.
issue.
So that was fine. But like when we were in Scotland, I had gluten-free fish and chips like 4 times, and it was so good.
I love fish and chips.
It was amazing. I was so excited.
Really?
So yeah,
Do you put malt vinegar on your fish and
I
chips?
can't. Malt vinegar is not gluten-free.
Oh.
Malt.
Oh, I knew soy.
But there was one place that had a gluten-free version of their malt vinegar.
Okay.
So all right. So here's what I took out of all that. While you guys are talking restaurant, I took network. You're using your network, your social network in your sphere, and then reviews are very important in terms of somebody finding you, and then TripAdvisor is a website. Is that the only website, or are there other websites that you think?
We have been using ChatGPT. There is a travel plugin for ChatGPT. When we were in Portugal, Roger planned a lot of our itineraries using ChatGPT. There's a thing.
My assistant.
Yeah. It was, and it would be like, we're looking.
Me?
No.
Like there would be like one day we were in wherever we were, and it was like, we're looking for a, family-owned small restaurant to have lunch, whatever, in this city,
neighborhood or whatever.
And it would give you like 5 different options and tell you a blurb about it, where it was, and we were like, that sounds good.
And then you're like, of these 5, which is the most gluten-free friendly? Or gluten-free friendly?
Or just which is the most authentic. In Portugal, it was really easy to eat gluten-free. I mean,
yeah.
Okay, but if you're using ChatGPT, so now this is where the critic, this is the engineer, deconstruct all of that. What that really is saying is it's grabbing information from
all
somewhere.
over the internet,
And as a content writer, so in order for you to search gluten-free means that somebody needs to be cognizant of inputting gluten-free. Yes. And it means that, all right, so I don't know where ChatGPT grabs its info, but it's obviously somewhere online.
It's everywhere. It's taking from all different sources and compiling.
So when we write a blog, so if Sarah were writing a blog on Simple Sarah, and that was one of her blog ideas way back when. But, no, but the idea is like, all right, so so you can write. All right, so you really write your story, whatever you want to write, and then somehow you got to go back in and plug in a few keywords.
So when I write, when you write a blog, you should be making sure it's SEO optimized, and like I write my blogs with certain keywords with SEO in mind and
But
certain
do you know
keywords.
what the problem with SEO Optimize is? Everyone who wants to get paid for SEO Optimize, they don't simplify and say, here's the 5 basic things of SEO. Let's get an SEO expert on here. I'd love someone to because everyone wants to make money off information, right? So they're like, oh, I can help you. We'll get your website to be number 1. Well, what are you really doing?
Well, no, what you should do is learn it yourself. That's what I did. I took a course and learned the basics. It was super easy. And like you're saying, I just learned the basics.
See?
And now I can write and do it all myself. I don't need somebody to do it for me.
You know what? I just took this app. I just downloaded this app. Have you heard of it? It's called Blinkist.
No.
So I wonder if they have a book on it. Basically, this is really genius. So what they do is they take a book. It's kind of like Cliff Notes. They condense the book into 15 minutes.
Oh, I have heard of this.
And the idea is, the concept is to get a little smarter, get a little more
Is this the ad on
educated.
Instagram where it's like, stop scrolling and for 6 months do this and you'll be the smartest person in the room?
I've seen that.
Yes.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah. Yes. And so I haven't tried it. I literally just downloaded it yesterday.
Did you pay for it?
I think it's $134 for the year.
Yep.
They give you 7 days for free, so I just haven't had time. But I do like the concept.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
All right, I want to find a SEO book on that. I don't want to take a whole course.
Go to Blink.
So I did.
SEO.
Yeah, I mean, it's really.
Go to ChatGPT.
It's just a few.
my
There's
assistant.
just a few.
Say, teach me the basics on SEO.
Yeah, that's all
and
you
then
really
when
need
it
to
spits
do.
it out, say more concise. Shortens
So
it for
there's
you.
a few key tools that I use to help write my blogs that help me with keywords. Like there's a tool that I pay for called Key Search, where I'm able to put in find keywords that I will rank higher for. Like I can figure out what I'm going to rank the highest for. What's going to have what the CBC, whatever it's called, cost per click.
Yes.
It gives me all these things, and I'll be able to see how I can rank for that particular keyword. I know what keywords are associated with it, and it helps me write each blog with a specific keyword in mind.
That's genius.
And then I learned about different type of linking throughout my site, how to link properly, how to it's just little things that I wasn't doing before that I'm doing now, and I'm seeing the difference because I'm seeing the views on my pages. I'm also hooked up to an ad network through my site. I'm making money through it, so I'm seeing there's people are coming to my page and clicking the ads and all of that. So that I think was a really good investment on my part to just learn how to do that for myself. Mm-hmm. It's a skill.
Is it an online course?
It was a girl that I saw on Instagram who used to work for Google, and then I had been following her. She's like a travel and beauty influencer, and she was advertising that she was going to be doing a free webinar that was like a sneak peek at her SEO course. They all get you with that. And I was like, you know what? She worked for Google. I already follow her. She's clearly she has a great following. Her content's awesome.
Do you want to say her name or no?
I don't. You can ask me later.
Doesn't matter. Okay.
And you lost my train of thought. So I took the webinar. Mm-hmm. I learned a little bit from the webinar, and then at the end, obviously, they give a one-time only price, and so I just did it. I was like, you know what, I need to do this.
I'm a sucker for the one-time only price.
Yeah, and I was like, I need to do this. It's an investment in my business. Mm-hmm. It's a write-off, whatever. I was like, perfect, let's just do it. So I did it, and it was basically I could learn it on my own time. It was just modules. It was all.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
You could listen, and then she had different PowerPoint, whatever. It was 7 different sections, not long at all, maybe 15, 20 minutes. And then she had other workbook pages that would go along with it, checklists and things like that.
I love that.
So it was all I could do it on my own time. I could go back if I needed to go back and re-listen to something about affiliate marketing at one point or something, whatever it is. She taught me how to, she teaches you how to set up the back end of your Google Analytics and your Google Search Console and all these things that I had, but they weren't set up right. So it was worth paying for. I feel like it was a good investment on my part, and not just knowing that I'm now understanding how keywords work.
Mm-hmm. And you have all those tools, so you can do whatever you want with it. Right.
And I use WordPress for my blog, so there's some built-in plugins that help along with that, with SEO and just how to organize. So now I just understand what it's actually doing, rather than it's just there and I'm I don't know how to actually use it. So that was helpful. And I think all of that really makes a difference for sure.
So I want to ask you because, one, you said something about like, what is a mortgage? So that is actually you're a perfect person because of your creative side, because of your ability to understand SEO and do all of that stuff. If you were tasked with trying to make mortgages fun, entertaining, like we have every tool possible. We have every idea possible, not idea, but like we have the ability to do anything we want with mortgages, okay? You and I are going to sit here, we figure out a project, we go, all right, how on earth do we make mortgages entertaining or go direct to consumer somehow? So my personal opinion is that what happens with mortgages in terms of content and what people find online is that if it is not, I could do a video right now, the greatest video in the world. If it doesn't apply to your situation, it's not going anywhere. So the reach of that video, like if let's say like it's not the locality, because a restaurant, we can eat at that restaurant any point in time. Anyone within your certain circumference can use that. Mm-hmm. If I'm talking about first-time home buyers, well, in order to get real traction, I want to expand and go as big as possible. But then if we get leads in Kansas, like we're not licensed in Kansas, that doesn't really help me all that much. So what do you think are some ideas if we were doing it? Is it a TV show? Is it is it videos? Is there short videos? Is it reels? Like, how do you take a subject that isn't always interesting? So I love what I do, but I know it's not interesting.
It's not interesting.
I don't think anybody here finds it interesting other than me.
Yeah.
And so
I have had mortgages explained to me about 20 times before, and every time I can't retain the information. I still don't know what it is.
So I'm
not asking you to tell me again because it's literally going to go in one ear and out the other.
Well, that part's boring, but
it's like if you have entertaining people.
Okay.
I think the way that you would get it done, and it's not going to be mortgage based, it's going to be people are going to follow you because they like your content, probably nothing to do with mortgages specifically, right, but something else
so
that
you want
can
me dressed in scrubs?
No. We're not going back to that. But something
Dr.
else,
Mortgage.
Something else that can make you likable and entertaining enough, but also sort of highlight that you
you got to have a trust factor.
So you've got to be trusted, and you've got to come off as somebody that's smart and knows what they're doing, because people are going to trust you with their money.
Yeah. I think your cooking thing idea is entertaining. Like, if you
perfectly execute a meal and then be like, this is exactly how I execute my loans.
Yeah, but I'm not a chef, so like that.
But it doesn't matter. No, people like that better.
But she's not a restaurant critique.
I have no food background.
Okay.
Like, I'm not claiming to be an expert on food at all, like, right, ever. I people like what I like,
and they like watching her.
Yeah,
and they like her content. And then now it's developed over so many years into people going to her as a resource to where should I go eat in
right.
Delray.
Like, I don't claim to be an expert on food at all. Like,
what am I going to be called? The untrained chef?
Something. Yes. Mm-hmm. But I think something like that. People like watching people. People like watching people.
So you have to put yourself in it.
But that's reality TV. So like,
no. I
saw a post this morning that said people are looking for content in 2025. They don't want perfect. They don't want filtered.
No,
they don't want scripted. They want real. They don't want the ice cube maker who's making 45 trays of ice cubes in different shapes with dried flowers in it anymore. They're done.
They want
real people with a real kitchen, with a real living room, with your kids' shit everywhere, and they want to see real. So you are very real. They want to see you, the untrained.
Yeah, but I think if you were
untrained chef who's not the super Rico Suave guy who's on that cooking thing that I sent you the video, where he's like super sexy and everything. Like, you're not that guy. You're just a regular average Joe that loves mortgages, loves numbers, and likes to cook for yourself.
Are you hearing this?
I agree with her.
We have annual reviews coming up, and you're calling me an average Joe.
I think what you need to do, but people like average Joe.
It's a joke. I'm just teasing.
But I think
I'm not average, but
since you're such an expert, in the mortgage world, make yourself normal and everything else.
So you you could be cooking, like doing your little
could
thing.
burn stuff.
But you could talk,
Yourself.
you could throw nuggets of information
That hurts.
about mortgages while you're cooking. Like, I can't give you an example because I don't know anything about mortgages. But like, you could be cooking, like, I don't know, you're doing something. And every once in a while I'd be like, well, this is kind of like this. Like, compare it. I don't know.
Like when you're
There's ways
serving it
to-
up, be like, and this is the part where we fund the, like, you could do little pieces of it. You can make it quirky. You could have like special
Yeah.
glasses that you wear, maybe goggles.
You could have
an
a fun apron, yeah. I mean, there's a lot. I
We're
think
gonna do
it
this.
honestly
This
just
is
has.
gonna be
I really
2025.
the
We're
way
gonna make
to get a topic, a boring topic, to make it exciting is to have an exciting person talking about it.
What
Then we have
about
to
what
find
about
somebody.
instead of commercials? I have an idea. So what you do is you do it. So like, you know how YouTube forces you to watch a commercial sometimes?
I hate
so
that.
what you do,
You're going to force people
I hate
to
that.
watch you before the video.
No,
You're
not
going to be
before,
the
but
commercial.
I am the commercial.
You are the commercial.
You better get it in the first like 10 seconds.
commercial
Then after
to
that, you
your
can
show?
skip
No. Huh?
to any show. He's the
No,
forced
you-
10 seconds
so
that you have
so
to watch,
the
and then
show
it
is
says
the
skip
show is
this ad.
cooking, and then I stop. I take the apron off, and I go, "Let me tell you a little something about credit, ladies and gentlemen." Boom, boom, boom.
And then they're like, skip this ad comes up.
And then
you're
because
like,
you think it's like an ad, like this
Yeah.
is sponsored to you by Choice Mortgage Group.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
Another genius one.
yeah.
Shayna, what's next for you?
Oh, good one.
What do you think?
I want to
what do
grow.
you-
I want to grow my podcast. I really, I love sitting and talking with people.
Okay.
Like, this is just it comes so very naturally to me. Like, this is my ultimate goal when I was in school was I wanted to be like a TV anchor. I wanted to be like Juliana Rancic.
Yeah.
Juliana Rancic on.
She was on E for a
E.
long time when we were growing up.
Like
Or
E
when
News.
I
I
was-
wanted
yes.
to do like E News.
Yes.
That's what I wanted
She's
to
on
do.
the red carpet. She interviews people when they
That's
come
what
by.
I wanted to do. But, that's a very difficult industry to break
I
into.
wanted to be Erin Andrews. So.
Yeah.
Who's
so,
the?
you know.
Do you guys remember? I don't know. I know
You're a
you're
little
old
older than
enough.
us.
I know you're old enough. Shayna might not be. But MTV News, the guy.
Carson Daly?
No,
before him.
Kirk.
Yes.
Kirk something.
Yeah. Why do you know his name?
Kirk
I was an
Float.
MTV junkie.
Yeah.
Same.
And
we
I-
all were.
And I had a lot of older cousins. So as a baby, they forced me to watch MTV with them.
Oh, yeah. But that would be like my. I want to grow. I want to be able to do it more frequently. Get it more of a regular thing. And basically, the idea is that we film on site at restaurants with chefs, restaurant owners. I'd love to do something at Bounce, maybe.
Cool.
Cocktail mixologists. We make drinks. We eat food. It's just a fun, conversational, super casual, like enjoying the moment, just having fun in the restaurants.
Yeah.
We've gotten some great feedback on a lot of the episodes that are out there. I think we have 17 episodes. And I just would love to be able to go. I mean, Janine and I actually took the Bright Line down to Miami and did one at Amara at Paraiso with Chef Michael Schwartz. That was super fun.
Yeah.
And we had like this amazing lunch on the water. I'm pretty sure we ordered like this one dish that we were obsessed with like 3 times, the fish dip with the tostones.
Yes.
Very cool.
Can I die? They like
You
died
can even
over
take it
this.
on the road when you travel.
Yeah.
Shayna
yes,
goes worldwide.
I would love. Oh
Shayna
my
goes
god, I would love
international.
to try. I would love to have someone just underwrite me to travel all over the world and just
too.
eat and drink.
I'm working
and,
on that.
Right, and film. That would be the ultimate goal. But yeah, I mean, we've done stuff up in Gardens, Boynton, Del Rey, Boca, Fort Lauderdale, Miami.
So we had another guest who was doing open houses live on. And do you find? I guess it's a little bit different. Do you want the noise in the background, or do you want it to be quiet? Like
No,
the
so
restaurant shut
actually,
down?
Sarah asked me that earlier. She's like, "Are the restaurants open when you film?" Ideally, I don't want people around. It's much easier.
Are you a control person?
No, it's easier for Janine and the sound.
For editing
Gotcha.
purposes.
I am. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with control.
If somebody's like, I don't care if like there's people walking around behind me. That doesn't distract me. But sound wise,
You want it to come across.
it's gonna come.
so
Yeah,
people can
That
understand
would
it.
bother
yeah.
you. People walking by, you would get so distracted. Yeah,
I would
I
get
know.
distracted.
You would. You'd get thrown off for sure. You don't think so?
I've watched you in public. You see
He's like a
most
puppy,
women, and you're like,
Whoa, 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 whoa.
and I'll be having a full conversation with you, and then I'll just wait and I'll watch.
I was having a business thought. Another
And then I'll
genius
wait,
idea.
and then you'll jump on your phone really quick, and then you'll look back, and then you'll look at me, and you're like, huh? And I'm like, right, okay, I'll start over. Talk about distracted.
Anyways. All right. So we know what's next. So we want to take this podcast and go do something really
That's
cool.
a goal. Yeah.
Is it do you do it with guests or is it just food? Okay.
So I always do it at restaurants, and the restaurant that we're at is the guest. So it's whether it's the chef, the owner, whoever really wants to be on.
Who's the most entertaining person in a restaurant usually?
I mean, it really depends.
Bartenders.
Bartenders are fun if they're the bartender we filmed with at Penelope Miles is like the most awesome character. Like, he is so great on camera. He was amazing to work with, and I just love his cocktails. I will drink anything that he makes. He is a genius. Some chefs are great. Some chefs are behind the scenes, don't want to be on camera, don't want to talk. But the ones like Michael Schwartz when we were in Miami was super fun. He was great. I'm trying to think. Nicholas from Amar was a really good one. He's the owner of Amar, and his background.
Are they Lebanese?
Yes,
Okay.
his background in the food and beverage world as an F&B director, and just the different places he's worked all over the world with some of the most amazing people.
Awesome.
Like his was probably one of the most popular episodes I put out. People were like really, really received that well. Obviously, it was really fun to have Michael Mayo. I've had like food writers and just food personalities, and I'd love to get more. And we've had like event producers on too, like food events. It doesn't have to just be a restaurant. We can do
like South Beach Food and Wine Fest.
Yeah. I had
Well, that's coming up. It's in February.
Yeah, February. Oh, you just reminded me that
go.
I need to apply for my media passes for that.
Yeah, you should.
I didn't do that yet.
We'll take one each. Just kidding.
You can apply.
Yeah, we are media now.
You can. You go on their website and they have a whole
realized
thing.
we're
You can apply and
Do we get media credentials?
You might.
We're sponsored.
They're pretty.
Can we work on that?
They're pretty.
Sure, I happen to be the sponsor, but we're sponsored.
Let's all go. Take a bright line.
Yeah.
I think that's a good idea.
That's always fun. It's the end of February.
Oh, it's so much fun. There's that whole month. There's so many things going on.
There's
down
so
there.
much. And there's,
February is the most event month in.
January's busy too. You have Visit Lauderdale Food and Wine is in January. That's the week of like the 13th to the 19th. There's a lot of really fun events for that.
What's it called?
Visit Lauderdale Food and Wine.
Oh no, never heard of it.
It's great. They do a huge grand tasting.
Is that on the beach too?
On the
or is it-
beach.
Okay.
And then the whole week there's cooking classes and dinners and seminars and different events. There's a big barbecue event on the.
I am
pass to
actually
that as
taking
well.
a cooking class tonight.
Oh, fun! Where are you
Going
going?
to Sur la Table.
What are you making?
That's a good question.
Are you teaching it?
No, I'm not teaching it.
I do enjoy doing cooking classes. I will say that.
It's fun,
I've done.
right?
Yeah,
It's a great date.
it's fun.
You should video it.
So,
But
it's not.
Oh, you're on a
that's
date.
like that isn't something I.
don't wanna scare her.
My fiance is a very like. If I even try to help in the kitchen, he's like, "No, I'm good."
You're in the way.
Well, it depends on what. So, like, for me, like, if I was in that role, like, I love a sous chef. Like, go ahead and, like, here, cut this, have some wine. Like, you know, like, I cook on the island in the kitchen the most.
Be on the
know?
outside.
Yeah, that's kind of what he does. He's like,
don't,
tasks
like-
me with something that
Here's
I
your
can do
counter.
elsewhere.
Here's your cutting board. Here's your knife. Take care of this. And when you're done,
Usually,
I've already
my
got
job
a
involves opening the
four-legged
wine
furry
and pouring.
friend that's on the ground that you got to step over to.
yeah,
and,
but she's there to pick up. She's vacuum.
Yeah, as long
Okay.
as it's not.
So
Oh, that's a good one.
Sorry.
What's
Wow.
Sorry.
Talk about distraction.
Yeah. Well, we started to get into the conversation of travel, and I'm assuming you guys like to travel too. Where are you going next?
So I just got back.
From Mexico.
From
Mexico.
Nouveau Mexico. And so a little story. What's going on with my voice here? I laughed a little too much.
God forbid.
So what happened was we went to New Mexico, my business partner and I, and there's this gondola thing that takes you up to this restaurant that's 10,000 feet up.
Whoa.
And Nouveau Mexico, Albuquerque, is around 5,500 square feet. So I'm scared of heights.
Oh.
Okay? I really don't like heights.
Oh.
And so I'm like, guys, maybe I should go back to the hotel room first. Like, I'm doing everything I can to get out of it. And boys will be boys, so they're calling me names, bullying me. It's really, really bad. And so I was forced to go, and I nearly had a panic attack. It is the world's longest tram, and this thing is like.
And it just goes straight up.
Oh, I'll show you pictures after. So look up. I think it's called T3 tram, and you're so high.
I don't know. That sounds
and it's
fun.
15 minutes. All right.
Oh.
15 minutes is a really.
I'm not gonna
long
lie.
time.
My fiance would be having a heart attack. He's the same way.
I was like, I'm
hates
in the
heights.
middle. I'm holding on to the
He'd probably
pole.
be like crying.
You can
to
probably
me.
see my forearms a little bigger now because I was holding on to that thing for so long, and I'm holding on. I'm gripping to death. Right. And then I'm like, and then all of a sudden, so one of the guys that we were there to see, this loan officer he actually did a really, really great job. He kept asking, who's your favorite hockey team?
Oh,
where are you
distracting
from?
you.
He kept distracting me. I really, really appreciated that. You know what it was is that I was able to see that guy's a really good human being no matter what, right? You saw somebody who's in distress, not having
helps,
fun.
Yeah. Instead of making fun of you.
I started
like your
getting
friends
hot at
probably
one point. I was like, oh boy, like I'm going to, because you're not going to die, but like I might pass out. You never know. It was very traumatic. We get to the top.
Was the restaurant at least good?
I didn't even eat. So I brought my food to go because I was so, this one is loving it. I get a little vulnerable and boom, she starts laughing. All right? Please.
You make fun of me so much for everything I've told you.
We're at the
I've
restaurant.
Had panic attacks are like panic attacks are for the weak.
We're at the restaurant.
Here you are.
This was height induced. It has nothing to do with like a situation. It's a height induced.
That is the situation.
So, if it wasn't for height, I don't panic about anything. I'm steady Eddie over here.
Oh.
So you're sitting down, I'm sitting down, and I've got this view, and they give me like the head of the table seat, and I'm staring outside, and it's 10,000 feet up, and I'm like, all I can think about is I've got to go back down. And there is no, so now the anxiety kicks in, right? So anxiety is like thinking, what if? I was assuming, even if I stomached it all the way up, there has to be a road on the other side of this thing. And that's not how it works. They take the trash down in the gondola, the tram, whatever you call it. Everything was like the employees go up, go down. Like there's a service road, quote unquote, but like the road's not really great. And I was like, so I'm literally thinking there, I'm like, I don't have any way other than I'm going to have to get back in this thing. And now I'm like, well, my body doesn't like me. I don't know how it's going to react. I don't want any food in my stomach. I don't want to poop myself or vomit or anything. Like, I don't know what's going to happen. Your body doesn't like you, So I'm like, and it's 15 minutes. So I'm like, I'm not doing that.
I've gone to Nouveau Mexico with you guys.
No, it wasn't good. And and then I actually felt better when I flipped the chair around and I faced the wall. Because then I kind of stopped thinking about what was happening. And it was like, it was brutal. It was an awful experience. Very traumatic for most people. I survived it. Obviously, I'm a survivor, but a lot of people wouldn't have. And no, but all kidding aside, traveling can be a lot of fun, but don't do things you don't want to do. It's not good. Not good at all.
We went to Scotland in July. Actually, that's where I got engaged. And
sweet.
we went on this hike. I knew we were going to go hiking on this trip, so I didn't own hiking boots. So I asked one of my friends. I was like, "Oh, do you have hiking boots I could borrow?" And she's like, "Yeah, I haven't used them in years, but sure." So she gives them to me. We get to the hiking site, and I look down at my feet, and I realize that the one hiking shoe is like falling apart. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to ignore that. I'm not telling Roger because he's going to freak out. I'm like, we're going to hope that it gets me through the hike. So we're hiking. It was a pretty awesome hike. Like the views were amazing. But we get to this one point where it was real sketch. And Roger's afraid of heights. I'm not afraid of heights, but I'm afraid of dying, like falling off of a cliff, or the side of a cliff. Like that doesn't sound fun to me. So
it's reasonable, by the way. It's a reasonable thought.
We get to this point where it's like rocky, but a drop. Like there was no rock and then a little bit of a land and then a drop. It was like rock drop. And it's like you have to climb over it. And you're supposed to climb over this, and then you get up to this space that you can see everything, and it's amazing. And I look around, and I'm like, this is nice enough. We both were just kind of like, I'm good. And we, kind of tried, and then we both were just like, nah, let's do it. So we turned around. We're like, there's no way. Can't do it. I'm like, my heart is, pounding out of my chest. I'm like, there's no way I can even attempt to do this. especially because I also know that my shoe might be falling apart at any time, and I didn't let that be known.
Shoe is gone.
So as we start to turn back, my foot gets caught on a rock, and the whole bottom of my hiking boot falls off.
No.
How hot? So how much further do you have to go? So like, is this
The whole
repairable?
way.
No.
So it's not repairable.
No, let me continue. We were halfway up. We had to go back down the same, like, we had probably like 2 miles down. We had gone up 2 miles. We had probably another mile to go to the top, which we said no. So we probably had like 2 miles to get back to.
Was he planning on proposing at the
No,
top?
he had already proposed by this point.
Gotcha.
This was past the proposal. So the whole rubber bottom, like, of the shoe comes off. And I just hold it up. I'm like, whoops. And like, I'm not sure what to do here. But thankfully there was like another layer. So like I could still walk on the shoe. But I'm holding this because for some reason I just couldn't let myself toss the rubber. I didn't want to litter in the middle of Scotland Highlands.
Yeah.
And so we're walking back down. And it was a hard hike. It really wasn't easy. Like there was a lot of different terrain and, you know, it was a lot. And we passed people on this walk back and they all look at me holding this rubber part of my shoe. And we're just like, shoe broke. Everyone was like heartbroken for me. Like they felt so bad, but I made it. I made it through. I got back. I sent a picture to my friend who let me borrow the shoe.
You're like, you're not getting these back.
And I was like, don't think I'm going to give you your shoes back. She's like, those have been sitting in her. She's like, I've had these for 10 years sitting in my South Florida closet. She's like, clearly the weather they have not held up. She's like, you can toss them. So it was only then that I felt okay about.
But more importantly, was your foot all banged up?
No.
Oh.
It made it
layer.
through.
Oh,
because there was like a layer, but my sock was soaked because there was like water. Like there was a little bit of a pond and you know, it was an interesting 2 miles to hike with your
new fiance.
No rubber bottom of the shoe, which is kind of like important when you're hiking.
For sure.
So that was fun. But we made it.
Very cool.
But that craggy side, that was...
Heights are, yeah.
Yeah. That was the only time where heights really gave me like a
this
panicky
is too much
moment.
for me.
Like, I can't do this.
No, trust me, I agree. I will, after that experience...
You'll think twice about going up to a restaurant. 10,000.
It's not that. It's more about listen to your gut.
Yeah.
You know, like if
it doesn't feel right.
You can try something else, but whatever. It's just listen to your gut. And if it doesn't feel right, don't do it.
I mean, that's a good lesson.
Don't put yourself in a compromising position. Life. Yes. All right. So are you taking on new partnerships? Are you taking on new restaurants?
Obviously, this year is closed out. Pretty much there's no time. But definitely looking for new partnerships and collabs for 2025. People to bring on the podcast, places to go. Everything is open for the new year. I'm really just kind of open to anything, really. I am honestly, if a local business comes to me and has an idea for something, I am very much open. Awesome. I've done things. I worked with a couple real estate agents before, nothing to do with real estate, but I was doing stuff with, I can't say his last name, Larry.
Mastro-Piri.
Yes, and they're Discover South Florida.
Yep.
And that was a lot of fun. I had so much fun filming
Larry's
for
a good
them.
dude.
And then I convinced him, I was like, you should be on it with me. And I had fun filming with him. And that was really fun. And that was just going to restaurants and eating and drinking and, showing off the restaurant. And they were using that as just another resource for their whatever the website was that their marketing. And so that was fun. Years ago, a real estate group reached out to me and asked me if I would film in a house that they were showing. And I filmed we did a walkthrough, and then I filmed, I had some kind of a partnership. I needed to show appetizers for a summer wine pairing or something. So we filmed it in the kitchen of this house they were showing.
If you have a beautiful house, it makes sense.
Yeah.
And
I'm always looking for places to film.
Cool.
I love different backdrops and things like that. So that's fun. I'm really open to hearing any ideas and
we filmed, so Larry and I filmed something, and it was the first time I'd ever had a producer tell us what to do this. I was like, I felt like an actor. It was kind of cool.
That's always fun. I like being able to like control the situation in certain aspects, but it is nice when someone has a vision and they're like, okay, do this, do that, do this, and they're filming and making it all happen, and there's like a concept and a proof of concept, and the deliverables are met.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
I like it.
All the way full circle.
Well, we're going to put your contact information with your permission in the show notes.
Of course,
and
I appreciate that.
Absolutely awesome to have you on here.
Yeah, this was fun.
Thank
You
you
guys
so much
have
for
a great
coming on.
banter.
Thanks. We do this all day.
I can imagine. No,
Cheers.
this was great. I really appreciate you having me on. So thank you.
Absolutely. It was great having you. Thank you for coming.
Have a great day, everybody.
Okay, that's enough whining for one day. We are so happy that you could join us today on Stop Whining About Real Estate. So please, not only listen, but subscribe, follow us, download, share, and if you're feeling it, give us a 5-star review. Hey, and if you'd like to be a guest on the show, please email stopwhining@choicemortgage.com. Thanks so much.